Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of the Higher Self podcast. And today I really wanted to do this episode last week, but a little bit of laryngitis and a stomach virus, and now we're a week behind schedule, but that's totally fine. I wanted to just kind of talk about competition. And the reason I wanted to do this is I recently competed and I did my first Brazilian Jiu Jitsu competition, something I was working hard towards and really kind of focusing in on. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to break down why I absolutely had to compete. It was a need, it was a must, and why competition would be something that would be good for you. And I absolutely believe that regardless of who you are or what you're doing, it's something that you do need in your life in some way, shape, or form. So let's start out. I did my first jiu-jitsu competition. I won. Awesome, great. It really wasn't about winning. What it was about was competing. And what happened was let's just kind of jump back a little bit. So what happened was I'm there and I've been sort of stuck in a little bit of a weird rut really since 2020. Leading up to the pandemic, I was actually kind of going through this situation where I was actually gearing up to do my first powerlifting competition with my grandfather who competitively powerlifts. And I was training, super motivated. My lifts were getting really heavy. I was putting on a lot of mass as is required with powerlifting, and then boom, roughly 2 days, 3 days before we were supposed to compete was when COVID started to kind of go down, and then lockdown happened the Monday after we were supposed to compete. So, needless to say, we never ended up making it to the competition. It didn't make sense for us at that time. But what happened was I had that whole gearing up phase, pushing myself, really focused and motivated, and it kind of clipped the wind out of my sails. And it's been quite a while since I've competed in any kind of capacity, whether it's powerlifting, I've done two-hand touch football, or obviously wrestling, fighting, and anything along those lines. It was just a long time. And then what happened was after the competition got canceled, after we didn't end up doing it due to the pandemic, I went through this really hard reset. And what I've realized leading into really last April was when I first got back into jujitsu training was I I lost that drive to compete. I lost that organization in my head as to why I was training, why I was working out. I didn't really have a specific goal in mind. And then what happened was my kids, we started taking them to karate at a school that also offers jujitsu. Big shout out to Pure Martial Arts over in Rockaway. And next thing I know, the bug started to creep back in. I started to kind of look at it and I was like, man, I really miss doing jujitsu. And so then I got started to train. And what happened was I'm training, I'm kind of going through everything, and I had some particular goals that I had in mind. One of which was I wanted to do my first grappling competition, my first jiu-jitsu competition in my first year of training. And the reason that I had that goal was because I wanted to just focus myself in. I really wanted to push myself to training very hard to be able to kind of focus everything and motivate everything. And that's what's going to kind of bring us into the topic of today. And it's the 5 reasons why you absolutely need to compete in something at some level. So most of us go through our day-to-day life where we just say, well, I'm just competing with myself, or I'm competing against life. Maybe you run a business, maybe you're in an organization where you have sales goals and you're competing as a salesperson and different things of that nature. And what happens is we fall into this monotony. Unless the challenge is real and prevalent for us, we kind of forget what we're made of to a certain extent. And that's really the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to competition is The second you have a competition on the board, so if you're doing, if you're into fitness and you're looking to step on a bodybuilding stage, if you schedule a contest for 3 months out from now, also now everything that you eat matters. Every workout matters. How you sleep matters. How you hydrate matters. All of those things now have more weight and focus to them. Whereas if you're just going to the gym to be in shape and to be fit, sure, you might say, well, I want to be in better shape than I was last year, or I want to be in good shape by the time I hit the beach. Now, there's a lot more margin for error. There's a lot more room to be able to say, well, I'm not going to do it today for whatever reason, way, shape, or form. But now, if you said, okay, now I'm going to step on stage 100 days from now, and I need to be in the best shape of my life for 100 days from now, where I'm going to be judged on my fitness, and I'm going to have to just kind of put myself 100% out there, and I need to be the absolute best that I could be, the most prepared that I could possibly be in the next 100 days. Well, now everything matters. Everything gets focused. Everything kind of, you start to see everything through that lens. And that's exactly what happened the second that I scheduled to do Grapplers Grand Prix. The second that I scheduled to do the tournament, I said, okay, well, I have no idea who I'm competing against. I don't know who's going to show up, but I need to be ready as if they're going to be the best people that are possibly out there, the best people that I could possibly see. And I need to be ready for absolutely anything. I had no idea how many matches I was going to have. I had no idea what the rules were at the time. Got all of that. So I had to make sure that I was ready for absolutely anything. And that's what signing up for the competition did. Then leading into the competition, now what happens is you put a little bit more of yourself in there. You start to kind of play things out from a more realistic standpoint. So now, again, if your competition is related to other goals that you might have, like being in shape or something like that, this is going to kind of help focus your mind on that. Now, if your competition, like myself, needless to say, being a jiu-jitsu grand champion at my age isn't something that I'm really looking for. But what it did for me, it focused my energy in those aspects of the day. So what happened was being able to kind of focus on that at those times actually helped me focus on other tasks at other parts of the day, helped me focus on growing my business, it helped me focus on the other avenues of my life that I am pursuing by having that focused time towards that particular training, towards that particular goal, towards that particular competition. And the other thing is, it really did quiet my mind and stay focused on tasks. What I find is myself personally, and I'm sure most of you guys out there struggle with this, where you jump from one task to the next, never really being able to focus in, hone in exactly what you're doing at any given moment. Maybe the cell phone goes off, maybe you're working on one thing a little bit or one project a little bit, and then you jump to the next. So being able to kind of delegate and focus each moment of the day on particular tasks really did help me excel on a lot of different levels and kind of push everything forward together. Now, the third thing is when you're competing, and again, this is competing in anything or in any scenario. However, I do highly recommend competing in some athletic endeavor for this particular thing. It helps you know exactly where you're at. And by that, I mean that we need to stay humble in everything that we do. And it's easy to say stay humble. It's easy to say listen to the task. It's easy to say stay focused. But what happens is when you actually humble yourself, what I'm talking about is you're able to drop down on a very real and visceral level and be able to kind of step in with no preconceived notions and know this is exactly where I'm at. And in the same notion, what's going to happen is you're going to hit this tiered scale. So if you go out and you win, what happens is you realize, well, that was a lot harder than I thought it was, or maybe it was a lot easier than you thought it was. But you're going to have a sense of where you're at as far as that's concerned. And in doing that, what that will give you the appropriate framework to know how much more energy you need to put into things, how much more you need to work through it. And you need to take that beyond that particular competition. You need to stay humble with everything that you're doing and kind of always play from behind is really a term that I like to use or to express there. Then we step into the actual acts of the competition. And now you're going in and you're in the midst of your competition. And this is where inevitably you're going to learn some life lesson. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but there will be some life lesson that you're going to learn in this moment of competition. And if I had a video editor, I would kind of show the video where I got to learn my life lesson in the jiu-jitsu competition, but I'm just going to break it down to you. So what happened was I went through and I'm in the championship match and we're going through everything and I am behind. And in jiu-jitsu, I'm behind, I'm pinned down. I got the opponent on top of me. He's up 4-0. The clock's running and I feel this pit in my stomach. I'm pinned down, I'm behind. Nothing is going for me. Nothing is working for me in this particular moment. And then what happened was I was able to go boom, I swept him. So now I'm down 4-2. Then I was able to pass his guard and I won the match literally within the last minute of a 5-minute match. I was able to sweep him, pass his guard, and I was able to go up by a single point in that moment. And what happened was what rewired in my brain was really two particular life lessons. And I want you to take this away from this story as well. The first of which was, even when you think absolutely everything is going against you and you're pinned down and your back is against the wall and you start to have that moment of panic in there, you can still win. You need to relax, calm your mind, calm yourself, and be able to kind of work through your routines and your patterns. You need to trust the process of the time that you put in to be able to be successful there. The second of which was that you're not done fighting, or you haven't lost whatever fight you're in, whatever challenge you're looking to overcome, until you stop. Until you stop fighting, until you give up, until you decide that you've lost. You haven't lost. There's still more fight to go on. There's still more ways that you could push yourself. Now, this brings me to the fifth thing, and the fifth reason why you absolutely need to compete. And this is what happened after the competition. Now, when you are competing in anything, what you're doing is you're standing out there and you're putting yourself out there to be judged, to be exposed, to have your preconceived notions of yourself dismissed. And this is something that is not comfortable for most people. So one of the things that we say in jiu-jitsu is just simply by competing, you have already won. And what I want you to realize is that's not just true for jiu-jitsu. It's true for any competition. So many people will approach things from nothing but a casual standpoint, but never bother to take it a couple of steps further. And that's really what I want to challenge you to do. So I want to challenge you to let yourself be judged, challenge yourself to be exposed, challenge yourself to be hurt, for lack of a better term, challenge yourself to have your preconceived notions of who you are be proven wrong. Because realize that at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, what you did was you proved that you're part of that 0.5% of people, that 0.5% of people that's going to be willing to go out there, put yourself out there, be judged by the world, and stand on who you are. Now, that's what I want you to do. I want you to go out there. I want to challenge you. And this is what I want you to leave you with. I want to challenge you to sign up for some competition this year. It's currently March 1st. So between now and December, do some competition. Sign up for it today. Doesn't matter how far out it might be, but sign up for some competition today and put the pin in the map. And then focus your energy towards achieving it. Now, if these are organized competitions, all the better. If they're not, they're not. But you do need to compete. Whether you're competing in a sales organization, you're competing against your rivals, you're competing against, if you run a company, you're competing against your competitors. Just get to know what their numbers are. Say, look, I'm going to do 100 times better than the gym down the street, or I'm going to outsell Steve by 500%. It doesn't matter what it is, what the competition is, but put yourself out there. Let yourself be exposed. Focus your energy. Push yourself harder than what you thought you were capable of. Realize exactly what you're made of. Learn a life lesson from it. Realize that regardless of what it is or what you're going through, learn something, internalize something from your experience with the competition, and then go out there and pat yourself on the back, because just the fact that you've competed, you've already won. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the social media things. If you're looking to push yourself into that next level, to achieve your higher potential, make sure you schedule your launch in the link below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.